Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's February 12th, 2022, and today I thought what I'd do is give sort of a video response to a video that Thea and I watched last night, which was Hyperchange, a really good YouTube channel whose host is Gali. And he had as a guest Dave Lee on investing. Dave Lee from Dave Lee on Investing, another YouTube channel. Dave is, we're big fans of Dave. Both YouTubers are fantastic here. But Dave Lee's a little bit more, his approach to analysis and looking at Tesla is a little bit more like my own. Although I am very enthusiastic and get pretty excited, Dave is a little more reserved than Gali. Gali's, the name of his channel is Hyperchange. He's somewhat energetic, lots of zeal, gets super excited, super pumped about things. He doesn't just talk about Tesla, and neither does Dave either, but Tesla's their main content that I listen to with both of them. But Gali's younger and very enthusiastic, gets very excited. And the topic that they talked about was, well, they talked about several topics, but the topic that I'm covering today is their coverage of full self-driving beta. So, and how that some of the segments of their posting of their videos showing full self-driving beta in action when there's an intervention, meaning that the driver has to take over. It's often taken out of text and out of context, and other YouTubers as well as the media takes a look at it and talks about how dangerous it is as well. So I think what I'll do is I'll stop right there and we'll listen to what Dave and Gali have to say to start out with.
Okay, but I want to get to more spicier stuff about Tesla. FSD. Do you have FSD? Are you testing it? What's your take on just where we're at, how it's improving? Would love to know.
Yeah. I saw your drive with Omar the other day, so yeah, I've been testing since 9.0, I think July of last year. And I drive it a lot, actually, as much as I can, almost every day. And I've seen it actually improve a lot. And I'm actually super happy with the progress. I think initially when I first got it in July, I had high expectations where I'm like, okay, this doesn't drive according to like the videos I've seen. But when I was driving it, I started to understand, and I think having James Dalma, and I would like offline, I would send in video clips. I go, hey, what's going on here? Like, what is the computer seeing and what is it doing? And this is just how I personally take it. Elon is a particularly unique individual, and he doesn't have.
So I think I'll stop it right there for a second and just say Dave's going to get into talking about Elon's approach and how he's interpreting and how he's communicating about full self-driving. So first I thought I'd say this. So full self-driving is a little bit different than autopilot. Autopilot comes with the Teslas, any of the Teslas that you buy, and it's adaptive cruise control. It's lane keeping. And when we first got Thea's Model Y, I was very nervous about trusting the car, especially at nighttime, going around bends, on a highway that's real busy, but it's single lane going each way, and the headlights coming and it's raining, and quite honestly I was very nervous, and I've grown to just absolutely love it. It's so much more relaxing, but I'm aware that even with autopilot, which is really baked into the system quite well, there's going to be times where there might be phantom braking, meaning that all of a sudden the car will start to brake for no apparent reason, and that could cause someone to bang into you from the rear end. So you still have to be ready to intervene. But man, I'll tell you, it's been such a relaxing and such a a valuable component of the car. The other thing I'll say is the main reason that I bought the Model Y for Thea is because it is the safest vehicle in the world. These cars are so safe. Tesla makes safe cars. And that was paramount for me for the investment. Thea was, now ours is a 2020. Thea had another full year of working before she retired, and going back and forth, commuting back and forth, I wanted to make sure she had the safest vehicle. Even now, I still want her to have the safest vehicle. So Dave's going to give us his 2 cents on how he perceives Elon communicating.
Have the same, perhaps, proficiencies all around, or he has different types of proficiencies, right? And his proficiency to think and to solve problems and to think analytically, to push things to its limit, first principles, physics, engineering, is off the charts. But his proficiencies and skills in terms of relational type of managing expectations and all of these things are not very high, in my opinion. Like, he's not thinking about relational expectations when he's saying these. He's purely analyzing it from an engineering perspective based purely off of these equations that he's seen, but he's looking at like what his team is telling him in terms of data, how he's viewing the problem. So in his head, it's purely a numbers crunching, like interventions per mile, how fast are we improving the system over time, how fast compute will improve. All these things are going in his head, like equation-wise, right? There's nothing in his mind that's saying, oh, I need to manage people's expectations lest they become disappointed and blah, blah, blah. What if this doesn't happen in time? Then I can get into trouble, whatever. Like, that's not what's going through his head at all, zero. He's purely, and that's why every year it's like almost the same answer, right? It's going to happen this year because all of the equation, all of the data he's seeing is really positive, right? And the team is making a ton of progress. And what most people don't, I think, realize with this is autonomous driving has never been done before like this with pure vision. Like, it's completely new. It's a new area, a new product. There's no precedent for it. So
robot brain, you have to listen to every word he says. I think we will be safer than a human driver within a year. And I would argue it's probably already safer than a good amount of human drivers. It's not even that crazy to say that. He's not really saying it's going to be like the perfect. But actually, I kind of have your advice on that, or I want your advice on this, and just to be really candid, like, this is something I'm struggling with, like the Omar video. So I posted that, and like one clip of it gets taken out of context, and this has happened to me several times. And like the first time it happened, I like had to delete my video, or they clip out of a 30-minute drive the worst part, they make it look the worst. People post it on Twitter without my consent. I don't even know because they don't tag me or anything.
Yeah.
And then I tried to get them to take it down. I deleted my video last time, and then it happened again. And so as a creator, I've been trying to document my progress with FSD because like this is the coolest tech thing happening.
Yeah.
I'm also a Tesla investor. Like, this is the front lines of my due diligence. Like, I'm sharing my investing journey. Like, I want to open that up. Like, I almost feel guilty if it does bad and I don't tell my people, but I know that. Now I'm pretending that I'm. So I've just been like kind of torn up because it kills me when it's like, oh, everyone takes it out of context and thinks I'm doing something so unsafe. And like, to me, like personally, road safety is so important. Like, I don't know if you remember a year ago today, actually, like Tesla had some Bitcoin news drop. And you hit me up and you were like, Gali, let's collab and do a video. And I couldn't because my friend passed away and he was hit and killed by a drunk driver and there was no consequences. And that's like what people go through all the time. And like, that's my best friend and brother to me, Josh. And it's super sad. And like, so when people tell me that I don't care about road safety and like that, it's so far from my truth as a person. Like, I am so passionate about this technology because I think we need it for the safety of the roads and everyone. And like, it's just super important. And so as a creator, I'm like torn of like, I'm trying to post these videos. They get taken so out of context. Like, should I stop posting them? How do we tell people about FSD? Like, and there's gonna be crashes on FSD. That's just gonna be part of, so I'm just like, I don't know. It's kind of an open-ended question, but I'm really curious, like your thoughts as a creator.
Yeah, so I'll just share like kind of why I'm not posting many or much at all FSD videos. I actually was intending to post FSD videos to share kind of my experience with them more. I might have posted one very early on, but then what I realized is, oh, people aren't going to understand this.
So first thing I want to say is, Gali, I'm so sorry you've lost a loved one, a full, someone driving on the road and being taken out by a drunk driver, and that's repeated every single day. Thousands of people lose their lives every day, and even more are injured. Their lives are disrupted. They spend time in the hospital. People can be financially compromised with these accidents. And while I'm speaking on the screen, there's Dirty Tesla. He's another YouTuber who posts his videos showing full self-driving. So that's what you're seeing on the screen here. And it's just absolutely horrific what goes on, and we can't count on people being safe. Another channel that we watch is Wham Bam Tesla Cam, and you just see all the footage of people doing dumb things. People are easily distracted. People are eating while they're driving, drinking while they're driving, or getting into the vehicle under the influence of drugs or alcohol. The kids are in the back seat screaming and hollering. You may have just had a bad experience at work or with your spouse. We're a distracted species. And the more things that we can have as interventions to make things safer, the better off the way that I see it. So for one thing, Gali was just asking, what should he do as far as posting these videos and all. The other thing I will say is no matter what we do, no matter how much good there is, there's always going to be the naysayers, the people who are jealous, the people who have investments that are going to be compromised because Tesla is going to solve this problem. And I really do think Tesla is going to solve full self-driving. And it's going to be for the betterment. It's going to be more important than seat belts or airbags or the wheel. There's so many things that I think are going to change as a result of Elon's work. So a couple of things I would say is, my suggestion is, if one of our approaches in life is we're subjectively drawn into purchasing a vehicle, an attractive person, an attractive apartment, seeing a YouTube somebody with all the fashion and all. We're visually oriented, and we like things that are pleasing to the eye or pleasing to the ear. So we're very subjective as far as how we're influenced. So before I make a plan to do something, I go through a SOAP, which is subjective, objective, assessment, and then the plan. And so one of the things I say is, in these assessments, like Ben, who's recently just made lots of negative statements about Tesla, where they're headed, and about Elon, and saying things that are absolutely derogatory and not supported by any facts. So, and he's supposedly a data person. It's just someone you just don't want to listen to if they aren't going to give facts, if they're claiming to be a data person. So how do we solve getting more balanced information to people? So what I would say is, when you're doing your full self-driving beta, what I would do before doing that, let's say you've got a route that you want to take. And so what I would do is just drive the vehicle like you would normally drive it, without regenerative braking on, or with regenerative braking on. So with regenerative braking on, it's one pedal driving. As you take your foot off of the accelerator, the brake is applied, but it doesn't wear the brakes. It sends more charge to the battery. So I would say a really good example would be doing it 3 different ways. Having a camera that's looking at the steering wheel, where both hands are where you could see the steering wheel interventions, the turning the blinker on and off, and another camera looking at the pedals on the floor, the accelerator and the brakes. And having both of those cameras going on simultaneously while you're also have a camera looking down the road, and then counting the number of times that you're adjusting the steering to stay in the lane, the times that you're applying the brake or taking your foot off the accelerator or depressing the accelerator, turning on the turn signal, making the turns, doing whatever you're doing. And I would call those comparable to interventions. Otherwise, the vehicle is just going to stay still, or it's going to roll forward or roll backward, whatever way it's going. So that's a way of quantitatively assessing using objective data to see how many interventions there were or adjustments made from point A to point B in a route. Then putting the vehicle in full self-driving beta and engaging the system and seeing how many interventions you have to make through the same scenario. And over time, there probably will be fewer interventions in full self-driving, as many people have reported, but you're actually comparing, you're doing almost a placebo event, not really a placebo, but you're doing a non-interventive recording of the data of how many interventions there are as opposed to with a full self-driving beta engaged. So that's one way of looking at it, because if you say, geez, well, yes, we got from point A to point B and there was 130 movements that I had to make in order to get from point A to point B, but with full self-driving beta activated, with me still observing and still monitoring, there were only 2 interventions or 0 interventions or 5 interventions that were necessary. And like with Dirty Tesla here, he's in an area similar to us. We live in Oswego, New York, where there's snow on the ground. Sometimes you can't see the road, and you'll see, if you watch Dirty Tesla, you'll see the ground is completely snow covered. You can't see the lanes, and yet this car does a really good job. Are there more interventions when he's on these snow covered roads and all? Yes, there are. But if you look at that little blue dot up by the speedometer in the upper left hand corner of his screen that he shows, you'll see that blue dot means that it's engaged. It's taking off in a snow-covered intersection here. It's staying relatively in the right side of it. Now, he just had to intervene if you're watching it right now, but he's re-engaged already. And this is better than a young kid who would be put behind the wheel and trying to figure this out. You could see by the amount of the vehicle moving around just how rough it is going over the chunky, slushy material snow accumulated on the road. So full self-driving is a thing that's using cameras similar to what humans use as our eyes, and I think it's although it's possible that this could fail, I think it's very probable that Elon Musk and Tesla are going to solve this problem, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm so impressed with the progress that they've made already. I absolutely love autopilot. Now, that's the component that comes with the Teslas when you buy it. It isn't an upgrade. It isn't full self-driving beta. And you can see Dirty Tesla here where he's going. He's had 1 intervention and 2 disengagements in this video so far in a snow-covered area, somewhat similar to the places that we drive in regularly, or that Thea would drive in regularly. So with that, Gali, keep doing the good work you're doing. Dave, please keep doing the good work you're doing. I think it's valuable information. Don't be distracted by these peddlers of FUD. They're going to extract every little thing that they can find, and whether it's in context or not, they're going to go ahead and capitalize on it. And the thing is, objectively, are they disclosing how where they're invested and what they have to potentially benefit from? Some people will profess to love Tesla and bash it. You just got to wonder what their relationships with their loved ones is like if they say they love it and yet they bash it, they abuse it. So enough said from me. Thanks so much for watching. Keep up the good work, Gali and Dave. Appreciate all that you do, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.